I think that there's two parts to this in our conversation. And one is very much the do you believe aspect of, how much do you want to take seriously your lightning? And I think a huge part of my professional career, honestly, is being with people and being the person in their corner that's like, I am going to take seriously your lightning. And I'm going to, unfold a methodology of the self-discovery and looking at these insights and discovering the training regimen such that we can take this lightning very seriously and you can learn how to harness it, or unfold an even more brilliant way of harnessing it, kind of thing. And so, that's a deep pathway that I have a lot of devotion to. And I know you have a lot of devotion to. I think that aspect of taking seriously the belief or taking seriously the lightning, that's like one whole domain. But this like pumping up the hot air balloon, I think is another huge conversation here, because such a key piece for our generation and the people who are wanting to, make this transition from a lightning seeker to lightning wielder. I love that we've somehow landed on this
I
poetic
love it.
description.
I love it too, man.
Yeah, it's really good. It is this question of what does it really take? Like what does it really take to fill up that hot air balloon? And I think Parangi is a potent example because, a lot of people probably see him at his current stage, and just like a lot of extremely talented performers, you see them do the metaphorical triple backflip and they make it look easy. And you're like, wow, maybe they're just a prodigy. Maybe he's always been like
Right.
that. You
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
see the many years of like the grind,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. There's a couple things. One, both actually have kind of been something that Godsy's been riffing a lot on, that I've been thinking a lot about as well. And one is just reading biographies and looking at all of these people who, so many of these people, like a lot of these greats and masters, it's the same thing, pumping the air balloon for years and years. And then we see this massive, the sort of tipping point, and then they're an overnight success kind of thing. And so one of the ideas is like, how many times do we need to hear that? How many biographies of these people do we need to hear about until it finally clicks for us that that's the way? Sure, there's outliers, but like that's the way. And as soon as we can acknowledge that, then it's like amazing. I'm gonna be one of them, and I'm gonna follow. Like I'm gonna do the thing.
Yeah.
And there's a sort of really generative quality, I think, about being in the pumping of the balloon phase. Like for example, I go through my Substack sometimes, and I go scroll all the way down, and it's a long scroll now because I've been writing for a while. And I see 0 likes, 0 likes, 0 likes, 1 like, 1 like, 0 likes, 0 likes, 0 likes. And as I am looking at these essays internally, I have the feeling that like I'm gonna show people this in 5 years and be like, look at this. I did the work. I pumped it. And so there's like this sort of very generative frame for me around that, of like
Yeah.
seeing yourself just like those people, like the Steve Jobs, like all these people, as you're looking through and you see the 0 likes.
Yeah.
Like I'm one of them,
Yeah.
And then the other, and I guess this is along that sort of same idea. This was something that Gazi was riffing on, is if we're able to kind of hold that frame, that this is going to be seeing yourself telling the story when you're on that big podcast stage or you're speaking to the audience, showing them the picture of all the 0 likes. If you can sort of cultivate that frame, like this is the story that I'm going to tell, screenshotting your bank account when it has $75 in it. This is the story I'm going to tell when I make it. It creates this sort of like dopamine experience, and just like this generative quality. And so yeah, I think it's just like, speaking to everyone
Yeah.
who's maybe stuck on this,
Yeah.
swallow the pill and come join us,
Go.
in the trying phase, in the pumping of the air balloon, because it's like, in a way, I imagine these are some of the golden years.
Yeah.
These are the golden years that we'll probably look back on. And so like, let's go have a good time, enjoy it, find friends that are also in that same sort of pumping of the air balloon phase. And yeah.
Yeah. 100%, man. The energy coming through is brilliant. And I feel like it is inspiring me to want to go straight mystical for a moment. There's this quote from Terence McKenna, and he says, the universe isn't made out of molecules, it's made out of stories. And I feel like that energy of really seeing that in the moment where you're taking the screenshot of the $75 bank account and then you're connecting to the story, that is in a way just a deep harnessing of the lightning. It's the harnessing of the same energy that every single human that's successful is harnessing, which is essentially the story. What are we telling ourselves about what's happening in our experience? And then how are we communicating to others what's happening in our experience that's either leveraging the creative juju, like elevating the mojo of life, where it's like, I hear that story from Blake and I'm like, fuck yeah, Blake, like that's amazing. And if you went the other way and you saw the $75 in your bank account and you collapse and it's like you became a pity party, it's like maybe we'd have love and compassion for you there and we'd want to get you support and therapy and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But that's a much more difficult story to deal with, you know? And I think that's the toggle that a lot of our people are in, honestly, where it's like they're in that moment and then they're stuck in the quagmire of turning towards drugs or turning towards addiction or turning towards the developmental collapse. And I think
Yeah.
one of the big medicines that we're trying to really conjure here is to turn towards the other way and say, like, no, choose the fucking dope story, take the screenshot and roll up your sleeves and go for it. The universe is made out of stories and your story is important. It matters. Your choice here matters.
Totally. And we have the capacity to wield the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not at the mercy of the story. We have the capacity to wield the story. And oftentimes, like the $75 in my bank account, it's not only the beautiful, this is the story I'm going to tell when I'm on the podcast. There often is also this element of the developmental collapse or something like this. They usually are working in tandem, like,
Yeah.
like a kind of, what do you call it? Not jigsaw, like a
Seesaw?
seesaw, like a seesaw. Yeah, they're often coming together. That usually is kind of the nature of the sort of lightning strike as well. It's like, oh my god, and then whoa, this is possible.